My name is Khadijah Lashaun, and I am the Black guidance counselor that my community needs. I'm a strategic investor and CEO. I make money in my sleep, and I teach others how to do the same. I share my knowledge, talents, and resources with others. So if you're in need of that motivation or courage to start following your own path, look no further. My intention is to share as much value with you all as possible and to show you that there are many different paths to happiness and many different paths to wealth. You just have to find the one that's right for you. Okay, so they cut me off. They said I can't play no more regular music. So we gotta switch gears, y'all. We gotta switch gears to something different. Let's see what we got here. So this is the podcast interview that I recorded yesterday. I haven't released it yet, It will be released soon, but y'all need to lock in. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. How's your morning going so far?
Good. Just got back from the grocery store. I was thinking 2:00 Central Time, so I literally just checked my Instagram. I was like, oh wait.
My bad. I didn't realize you were on a different time region. That was my mistake.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I just happened. Something was. Let me check my Instagram to see.
That's good. It was divine timing.
Right. Exactly.
Is now okay for you, or would you rather wait a little bit?
No, we're good. That's good.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, before we get started, I just want to give you a heads up about what to expect and stuff like that. So I will give you a heads up that I am on Instagram Live. They can hear me, but they can't hear you. Okay?
Okay.
Just giving you a heads up. But basically my goal is to highlight your journey as an artist and highlight your, just how you've grown your brand, how did I find you? I found you literally because you grew your brand. So
right.
Sharing that knowledge with my community and other people who would be willing to listen, because I feel like it's very important that we pass on the knowledge that we have and we don't just keep it to ourselves.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So give to receive,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So do you have any questions about my podcast or me or anything?
Yeah, just kind of give me a rundown. I've really been taking a break from social media, so I haven't. I post this stuff, but I haven't really. It's like I post and get off, and then I don't even stay on here. So just I guess
I completely understand
all that stuff.
Absolutely. So my name is Khadijah Lashaun, also known as your Black guidance counselor. One question, real quick: do you have headphones on?
I do now. Do you want me to take them out?
What kind of headphones do you have on? The AirPods?
Yeah, this is regular. I'm trying to get the other ones to work because I bought some AirPods recently.
Well, do you have regular headphones that have the plug-in?
Yeah, I have those. I'm using those right now.
Okay. All right, cool. It's picking up a lot of feedback. Let's see. Can you try your AirPods? I'm sorry.
You're fine. Let me see if it works.
And tell me how I sound too. Is it coming through clear, or is there a lot of extra noise? So that's when it cut off. Did you click off?
No, my alarm went off. I had a 2:00 alarm to wake up and take a nap, and I forgot.
Oh, you wake up at 2:00? Yo,
yeah,
I swear, I'm the same way. I just be like, I'm gonna wake up when I feel like it. I'm moving with my spirit.
Exactly. I put an alarm for 2 because there was some stuff that I was like, okay, if I take a nap and then I get up for 2, it's fine. But other movies, let's see. So I really love Lilo and Stitch.
Ooh, I love Lilo and Stitch. I love Shrek too. Shrek is one of my favorites.
Wait, the very first one, or
the very first one? Yeah.
Okay. See, Shrek 2 is my favorite one out of those.
I understand.
Something about that. And when they storming through the castle, I was like, oh, that's a lot. That was
It was
So
a
well
lot.
done.
It was a long movie. It was a long
It
movie,
was so
but
good.
it's worth the journey, you know? It's a journey they're taking you on. I was just talking to my dad
Right.
about this. He was just saying how, like, they really aren't, like, creating a lot more movies with, like, a journey, like, where it really takes you
Oh no.
somewhere, you know?
Exactly. Like I just watched Encanto, and I was just like, I felt like it was cool, but it was kind of not. It wasn't like fulfilling. I felt like the way it kind of got hyped up. I thought it was gonna be more.
What movie?
The Encanto movie that just came out on Disney Plus with
Oh, okay.
the Spanish family that they like their
You ever seen
house that has like
Soul?
magic in it. Of course.
Yes,
They
that's
came
one of
out.
my favorites, man.
That was good.
I
That was so
have to
good.
be honest with you. I do have to go to the bathroom real quick. So can we pause for like 10 minutes and come back?
Yeah, it was like you got to see the log back onto the.
Yeah, I will just send you the same link again in like
Okay.
10 minutes. Is that all right?
All right, that works. Yeah, that
All
works.
right. All right, cool. Tell you that when you unplug like anytime you unplug your headphones or you click off the page, it will mess with the, and it will stop recording.
Oh, okay. Well, I know now. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
better. I think
Yeah.
these are my AirPods.
Yeah, that's perfect. That sounds amazing. I was gonna ask you, do I sound okay? Like, is there a lot of
Yeah.
feedback or it sounds clear?
Yeah, you're super clear.
Okay, cool. All right, so to tell you a little bit more about me, my name is Khadijah Lashaun, also known as your Black Guidance Counselor. I started my Instagram mostly around like natural hair. I initially wanted to sell t-shirts, but it kind of shifted because the t-shirts wasn't selling. You know, the intention was not on point from the beginning. So like I kind of shifted to like sharing viral content, like Black viral content. So that's kind of like what I became known for, is like sharing knowledge and messages that people need to hear. So as your Black Guidance Counselor, I am a full-time entrepreneur. So I do a lot of things. I do Lyft, I do Airbnb, I do Turo, I sell e-courses and stuff like that. So like I'm all about buying time, if that makes sense. So even just doing this podcast, recording it on live, like I'm all about sharing what I know, because that's what God has called me to do. And so basically with my podcast, the Black Creator Podcast, is to highlight not just entrepreneurial journeys, but like spiritual journeys too, and like to touch on those type of topics. Because I feel like, I don't know if you ever seen the Social Proof podcast.
No.
It's like basically just a podcast strictly about entrepreneurs, and this is what they did and this is how they did it, and like just sharing knowledge and stuff like that. So my podcast is low-key inspired by that, but I want to really highlight the spiritual side too, because I do feel like we don't really talk about those things as a community, and I want to encourage people to talk about things that, you know, maybe we were scared to with our parents, or, you know, just be open and honest about how life really is, you know?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So that's overall me. Do you have any questions?
No, that's. I'm glad I know that now. That's cool. That's really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we can officially start recording now. We are recording. So we can officially start the show now if it's cool with you.
Yeah, no, go. Let's. I'm ready to do it.
Okay, cool. All right. So gotta hype myself up. Hold on 1 second. All right. Welcome to the Black Creator Podcast, brought to you by Khadijah Lashaun, also known as your Black Guidance Counselor. I am here to guide you to the resources that you need. Today, I have William Toliver. It's William Toliver, right? Yeah, William Toliver. He is an artist. I found him on TikTok. He has an Instagram. He's grown his brand, and I would love to hear more about his story, about his journey as an artist and an entrepreneur, I'm sure, as well. So, William, first off, how are you doing today? How's everything going?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. I'm happy that you are even welcome to speak with me. So I appreciate that. So I do want to start off just by asking you, like, who are you and what have you done?
Let's see. It's almost like a loaded question.
I know, right? It's okay. Take your time.
Let me see. Well, I would say that for a long time, I felt like I was like a jack of all trades because I was good at a lot of things, and I didn't really have something that was my own, you know. So art was a way to express myself that was solely mine. You know, it wasn't somebody else telling me how to do something or what to do or when to do it, you know, whether that's work, school, whatever, you know. I created things that inspired me by people and the things that inspired me. And I would say that was like finding that path was like a really big part of me finding who I was, because I really spent a lot of time questioning myself and my journey. Because, you know, like you meet people all the time in life and they're like, oh, I know exactly what I want to do since I was like 6 years old. And I never felt like that. I was just like, oh, I want to do this. This seems cool. We'll do it for a while. Oh, this seems cool. I'm going to do this for a while. And it wasn't something that was my own. And now I feel like I finally found like my thing, my purpose, you know, and I can tell just how I move, you know, and how I feel every day when I wake up. And, you know, even the fact that the things that I'm doing are impacting people in ways that I never would have imagined, you know? So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That makes complete sense. If you don't mind me asking, are you full time with the artist, or are you doing it as like a side thing?
So I'm full time now. It was like a side
Congratulations.
thing to do. Appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
It was super scary. I'm not even gonna lie. And like, you know, that whole thing when people are trying to make that decision to, you know, quit your 9 to 5, go out into this entrepreneurial world. It's definitely not a thing that you take lightly.
Absolutely not.
You definitely have to pay attention to the signs that are placed in front of you and be intentional with how you move and what you do. And, you know, another part of that was I spent a lot of time. I did pray about a lot of things, and I talked to my mom. My mom was like my advisor, one of my best friends, and, you know, she's very big on pursuing your dreams and doing things that are important, but at the same time, you know, like, you know, as a parent, they're like, okay, this sounds good, but do you have an idea?
Yeah.
Like, just in case.
Like,
you know?
sowing a little doubt when you're playing.
Yeah. And it wasn't even in a bad way. It was being realistic, because it's, you know, you have expenses, we have bills, you know, like adulting is trash. Like, they don't tell you that.
They really don't.
So, they know, because you're thinking, oh, it's going to be cool. I have my own place, my own car. I can go and do things I want to do and go out.
You got to pay for all those things, man.
Right.
You got to figure out how you going to pay for all those things.
Exactly. It's not free no more. But you're not going to come home and mom has dinner up for the whole week for you, and like, you got clothes already. If I went to the store and picked these up, it's like, you know, if you don't get it, then you can't do these things. I just became full time in August, so this is what, August, September, October, December. Yeah, so like my 5
scared. Don't be
so
scared.
This is 6 months that I've been full time, and you know, I taught for 5 years prior to this. So,
you taught?
Yeah, I taught high school biology for 4 years, and then I taught art the last year because I was definitely in a transitional period where I was trying to figure out like, how am I going to make this art thing happen? And as time progressed, you know, honestly, I know the pandemic has been a really big changing for a lot of people, but it finally gave me time to slow down and think, you know, and really
calm your mind
out and have time. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're working all day.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. Your mind is all over the place. You're focused on all this stuff for other people instead of being focused on things for you. So I completely understand you there. I do want to backtrack a little bit because we got into who you are now, but I kind of want to go back. Okay, so tell me a little bit about when did you realize that you liked art, and like what was the spark for you to keep going with that?
So I would say, I mean, I've always liked art in a sense. Like, I like to draw. You know, I was drawing Looney Tunes and stuff. I feel like most kids just doodled and stuff. Like, I did that. And, you know, my mom would make sure that, you know, I had time cut out of my days, like on weekends or whatever. That wasn't, it's like, no TV, no nothing. We're going to do something, like, crafty, whether that's painting or drawing. And she's like, I want you to be well-rounded and not rely on just, like, television. Just, you know, be a stimulus.
Yeah.
You know. So very old school. And like at the very least, go outside. You know, do
Yeah, at the
something.
very least, go outside. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So it really was something that kind of just, I kind of just did for fun, and then it really didn't start hitting home until I think it was about 2012. I had actually come back from I graduated from undergrad.
Decision.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, and then
Yeah.
I was like, find another job. I can just find a job, find a deal, whatever. So I quit, and I'm thinking, the big thing with healthcare at the time is like they want you to have experience, and I finally had experience. So I'm like, okay, cool. If I can find a job, yeah, that didn't happen. So I didn't employed, being 21. I'm unemployed for like 6 months, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I
Was you
was like, I
still
need to do
living with your
something.
parents?
Yeah, I was still at home at the time because I was applying to medical school and trying to, take the MCAT and all that stuff. So it was more so just like a transition period of like me setting up for that next phase because, med school was the plan when I went after like my junior year at college. I was like, I want to go to medical school. That's what I want to do. Like, I want to help people.
Yeah.
And be active. So I was like, and I liked, I like how the body works and all, the functions and nuances and all that stuff. So I thought that was cool. Being good, it's a good living. And plus, your parents are super proud. They say, oh, my son is a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that
So
pressure
that's
there.
all. Exactly. I
And
saw how
it's
high
not bad pressure. I know it's them. They want best. Like they know what they know. But I think okay, keep going. I'm not going to interrupt you too much.
No, you're good. No, go ahead.
I was just saying that like I feel like parents they can want to lead you in a direction that they think is best for you, but like sometimes that's like a dream that they wish they did. You know what I mean? So like they might be like, oh, I wish I had pursued being a doctor. I wish I had done this, and so like they can sometimes push that on the kids. And I'm not trying to assume that your mom was pushing it or your parents were pushing it on you, but I'm just saying that like that's like a traditional path. Like our parents, they kind of encourage us down traditional paths. So like I think it's very brave of you to pursue your own untraditional path.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing that's been part of this whole journey is like, my mom and like my parents have been supportive. More so my mom. She's like, she didn't get that opportunity when she was growing up because her mom was like, no, you need to do this because this will get you these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't want to be like that with us, but at the same time, she's like, you need to do something that's going to make you money and like that you can live and be comfortable, so she's like, she did want me to take an art class with me taking sciences and like all my friends, they're pre-med. So I'm like, it's part of it. It was peer pressure, a peer pressure thing too. Like, you don't want to be like left out. Like all of my friends are doctors now, like surgeons and everything, which is funny. And I'm like the black sheep of the group where it's like,
yeah, I followed my own path. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
So you're like the one who's like just the risk taker in their eyes. Like, wow, they're doing this, but like, low key, they might be a little envious, They might be like, damn, I wish I could just wake up when I wanted to.
Right, and that's the thing I talk to them all the time. They're super busy, but like one of the things they all say, like every single one of them, is like, if I could go back and do this again, I would not be a doctor. But it's like you invest so much time that
and money,
it's hard to and money. It's hard to stray from that path, and that's like for kind of going back. That's what my thing was. Like I was trying to figure out a way to do with the extra time and a way to occupy my mind while I was trying to figure things out, and art became a way for me to just really like escape. And I realized as I was doing stuff, I was like, oh, I'm kind of good at this. I took like a random class at a community college, just a painting class because I had never painted before. And the teacher was just like, have you taken classes before? I was like, no, I just do. This is what I just did. And they're like, oh, yeah. So you might need to look at some of these people and like take some more classes and, consider doing something with art, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Then I went to grad school, and I was getting my master's in biochemistry and stuff, and it was just like when I would come back from class, I would paint 2 o'clock in the morning and paint till 4 or 5 a.m. and then have class at 8. Because
And you'd be so happy doing it, wouldn't you?
Exactly, and I would lose track of time, and I would look up, and literally the birds are chirping. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, like, damn, I missed out on another night of sleep.
Right,
you had to go right back to where, like, I understand.
Right back to class. I mean, it's slumps.
But you were having fun.
Right, exactly. And at the time, I was painting this as a way for me to de-stress and to help my mind relax from all the stress of school, like applying to medical school, getting internship stuff and application, like all that. And I think that was like, I didn't even realize how much I had painted until one of my friends that come by was like, your whole apartment looks like an artist studio. Like, it looks like you just like, this is what you do all the time, every day. This is your job.
That's impressive.
Right. And it was, how like you're so deep into something, you're so close in that you don't see the big picture. And I really didn't realize what they said. And I was like, oh, wow, like there's stuff everywhere. And one of my other friends was like, you should apply to, show your work. And I was like, nah, like it's just something I do for me. It's not really.
You didn't want to give it away yet.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm just doing it for me. It wasn't something I planned to sell or anything like that. And that was 5 years ago. I did my first show, met all these other people that, they're artist people, and, creatives are a different breed.
Definitely.
So it was really cool to be in that space and in that atmosphere, and I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it. I was like, I gotta keep doing this thing. And then, fast forward now, it's like, it's all I do every day, and it doesn't feel like work. I literally wake up in the morning every day and do something I love all day long, and I think on average I probably work 12 to 14 hours a day creating stuff. Mm-hmm. So, definitely more than a 9 to 5.
Yeah, but it's not work. It's what you love. So
exactly.
So you're not looking at the time. You're not looking like, oh, clock in, got to clock in at 8 a.m., got to clock out at 5, got to get dinner. Like, you just going with the flow,
Exactly.
So, okay.
That's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Like embracing your craft, embracing what, like, you love to do and doing that no matter what, like, that is standing for your life. Like, this is how I want to live my life, And that's powerful. It's very powerful. Okay, so let's backtrack again. So if my British accent pops out, just don't take offense, okay?
Okay.
But what I was gonna say is, first off, where did you grow up, and how were you raised?
So I was born in Maryland, but spent part of my time in the East Coast, so like Pittsburgh.
Maryland?
Down here. Yeah,
Maryland?
I was born in Silver Spring.
What? I was born in Maryland too. That's crazy.
Oh, that's wild.
I was born over in Prince George's Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't live out there. I didn't live out there. We moved to Columbia, but you can keep going. My bad.
No, you did good. So moved to Texas, like Dallas, and I would say, I'm basically Dallas raised me. Like I call Dallas home.
Okay.
I spent most of my time here. And, growing up wise, I feel like I had the very traditional, like, 90s TV show life where, you had soccer games and camping and, you did a whole bunch of family stuff all the time, going to museums, all the stuff that, like, kids don't do now. I feel like, we were outside all the time, always doing something. I was barely ever at home. Mm-hmm. When we were at home, it was like Friday night movie night. We're going to Blockbuster, which doesn't even exist now.
I know, right?
Blockbuster to get movies, right? It's so weird. That was the move. It was like, oh, we just go to Blockbuster.
Or Redbox.
And get a game.
After a while.
After a while, right? Yeah, exactly. So, it was very chill, very cool. Like, my parents always were having me doing something. They kept me busy. My mom believed in, no, idle hands are devil's workshop. So she always kept me busy with so much stuff.
Was it a religious household?
Yeah, church every Sunday. I did Awana on Wednesday, Sunday school, Bible camps. We did all that stuff, and my parents are very, very spiritual. I say more religious than spiritual. Maybe not now. More spiritual than religious now, but they used to be super religious. Things changed over time. I think that has to do with the fact of who, the church you go to, and then the congregation that you're dealing with.
And it's the pastor that you mess with is still there. Yeah.
Yeah, so all those things changed over time as we moved and went to different places. For me, I became more spiritual over time because, growing up in a religious household where it's you're hearing verses and scriptures and this all the time, and that's a big part of your life. I feel like as you get to adolescence, you start to question, is God really real? Is this a real thing? What is faith and what does that mean to you? What does that look like? Especially organized religion. And I know I questioned organized religion because there's a lot of similarities to me as I did research about different religions and where they're based and the practices and the beliefs and the people I came across that claim themselves to be one thing but then they act one way. Just how
on Sunday and then different the rest of the week.
Not even different the rest of the week. You get to the parking lot and it's different.
Oh wow. No, yeah, for real. It's turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off.
Right.
Yeah, I understand.
And you see that. And then the stuff that they preach, and it's just you're almost being a hypocrite because the things that you're saying that we should and shouldn't do, you were just doing or did before. And that's one thing that I went through a period of time, and that's when I really started painting a lot. Was I questioned my faith a lot. It was probably when I was in those early 20s. Because what? I felt
I'm sorry. You felt like what?
Well, I just felt to be honest, I felt like God wasn't on my side. It didn't matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, no matter how much I prayed, no matter how much I went to church, did all that stuff. It was just nothing was working out. And and looking back on it, that could have just been his way of being no, this isn't what you should be doing. You need to be focusing on this other thing. This is for you.
Yeah, the thing that wasn't for you wasn't going to work out because it wasn't for you. So you had to switch to the thing that was for you so it could work out.
Exactly. But when you're in it, you don't feel like that. You're just how come every single time?
Why, God? Why? Yeah, I understand. What I was going to say. I was going to say, so is it that you were questioning God or you were questioning Christianity?
Both.
Both?
I question both, yeah. Because, I do. At the end of the day, I do believe in God and there's only one. And Christianity, I had started to question before, and that's how I got before I started. My uncle was Muslim. I would talk to him about a lot of things, and then his level of enlightenment and understanding about the world and himself was a lot deeper than I feel the people that I had known in that practice Christianity, their understanding was the same.
It was one way of thinking, and you were introduced to some different ways of thinking, so it expanded your mind a little bit.
Exactly, and that was the first taste of it. And then as I started to look into other religions and meeting other people from different backgrounds, through college and stuff, that had, similar ideals, but, they still believed in, this one God and all that other stuff. I was there's really no wrong way to do this. There isn't necessarily, a set, you have to be this or you have to be that. It's you believe what you believe, and as long as I feel as long as you feel whole, at the end of the day, you feel that's what you resonate with, whatever that is, whether that's being spiritual, whether that's being Muslim, whether that's being Buddhist, Catholic, Christian, whatever, then that's all that matters, and you shouldn't force your ideals on other people and be this is the only way to do it, or you're going to go to hell, and
Absolutely,
so.
I agree with you completely. I think you can believe what you want to believe.
Exactly.
And that's your choice. That's your life. The consequences are yours. It's not, and it can be good or bad. I'm not trying to say like, oh, there's one right way or one wrong way, but I agree with you completely. I think it's up to that person to decide which feels best to them, you know, because some people resonate more with one religion over another, and there's nothing wrong with that. Or even just resonate more with spirituality over religion, and there's nothing wrong with that either. So I think that I like that you're sharing your idea, your journey with spirituality too, because you know it's a topic that a lot of people are scared to talk about. So okay, so going back to where did you go to college and what did you major in?
So I went to undergrad. I went to Case Western in Cleveland. I did. My major was biology and psychology biology and sociology with a psych and chem minor.
So you were confused.
It wasn't that. I really love how people think. Like I really like how human nature. I've always been interested in that. Like one of my favorite books is Aristotle's, I think, called Nicomachean Articles, and he basically breaks down the 12 things that he believes that human nature needs to progress, and that we need as people to do what we do every day. And I've always thought, like even like Freud and all that stuff, like the psychology of thought and ego and all that stuff. I always thought that was really cool of how different people think based on their background. Some things are, nature versus nurture, all that stuff, and then the sociology aspect of just like how we interact with one another. How people perceive you, how others perceive things, and how the perception of the world changes based on your circumstance. How we can we can watch the same clip, and then we both can have two completely different stories from the same exact video, which is in no person's more right than the other, because your perspective is your truth, and no one can deny that.
Yeah.
But your perspective is all your own. It's very unique to you, even in certain similar circumstances.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was really cool. And of course, the science part, because at the time when I did start undergrad, I really wanted to be a child psychiatrist. I thought that'd be awesome. So, just a lot. I like kids, and I thought that would be a really cool thing to just kind of be like help them navigate life in a better way, and
you're kind of like my twin, man.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I majored in psychology. I love sociology, but I also majored in film. So I focused on the film aspect. Like I double majored, because I was just like, gotta be practical, but you also gotta be, follow your. That was something my dad always encouraged me to do. But that's really cool. That's really cool. I agree with you completely. I think psychology and sociology are very interesting topics. And they really teach you how people are, like, not how we think people are, but how they really are, like how things really work. Because just like you just said, I was thinking about a video we watched in sociology. It was just like somebody ran into the room and stole something, and it was a classroom of people, and like they were all, after the person left, everybody asked them like, okay, so describe the man, and every single person had a different description. Like somebody was like, oh, he was wearing a blue shirt. Somebody was like, oh no, he was wearing a red shirt. Like it's crazy how you're right, perception, but also that's the color thing. Like some people are low-key colorblind and they don't even realize it. Like we don't even know it. Like I had a friend, it was crazy because he was looking at something, it was at work. I was like, oh, I highlighted something in yellow. He was like, oh, is it the stuff that's highlighted in green? And I was like, no, it's yellow. Yeah, I was just like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm a little colorblind. I'm like, oh, that's crazy because I'm just saying that's crazy that like we all have different perceptions and like different nuances to each person and how we see things. So I think that's all very interesting stuff to study. Would you do outside of class other than, so you got your art?
No, no, I didn't do it at grad at all. I just YouTube University was a great school that I attended. You know, diverse group of teachers. Free tuition.
Hell yeah. Promote YouTube University, y'all. Watch people start looking up YouTube University.
Hey, if YouTube sends me a check,
I know, right? So, are you on YouTube?
No, that's actually something I'm going to do this year. I talked to my community people, and they're like, "Hey, we want to have tutorial videos and stuff." So I figured, after teaching for all these years, I finally have wrapped my brain around, okay, what do I want to, talk and do lessons over and let people know about, whether some stuff will be, business related, because I know that's a lot of questions that I get about business. And I know there's a billion art tutorial videos out there how to do stuff.
But there's
it's kind of like, right, and that's how I had to think about it. It was like, okay, well, there's people are going to come check these videos because I'm doing it. And I try to make things very simple because I try to think about how basically I did stuff when I was teaching in my high school. Because I'm like, if I can teach a 12, 13-year-old, or 14, how to do something that's super complex, like breaking down cellular respiration and all its parts and the amino acids and the, all the things that you need.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can break down how to draw people and do coloring stuff and painting stuff.
Yeah, you can. Don't say I think I can. You can do that. There's nothing that's stopping you from it. If you can do it for yourself, you can teach somebody else how to do it. But okay, so I got two entrepreneurial ideas for you. Okay, you can take them if you want. It's your decision. What I recommend you do is create a TikTok compilation for yourself. Okay, and that could be a YouTube video. Because the thing is that those carry a lot of weight. Because say 5 years from now, somebody's looking up William Toliver, they'll see William Toliver TikTok compilation. That's going to lead them to your YouTube channel, lead them to more videos, and want to check out more. And they're already found you on TikTok, so that means your content on TikTok is good. So that means reuse that content, make it into a YouTube video. Don't miss out on the opportunity to but to leverage something you've already done. Okay, so I would recommend you definitely do a TikTok compilation, multiple if you want. You could do categories these are ones about Black woman art, or whatever it is, whatever. So that's one idea I have for you. Another idea I have for you is something called Airbnb experiences. You ever heard of it? Thank you, Lord.
No.
So Airbnb experiences is where you can do it either a virtual experience or you can do it on in person. So an idea I would have for you is to do a paint with me, a vibe and paint with me, because that's a side that people may or may not see as often. We see your product, but do you really show yourself painting and stuff like that, or I didn't look too deep?
I'll do process videos, but it's only 1 or 2 seconds per part. Mm-hmm. But I have a whole session. I've done 1 or 2 lives where I actually just put the live on and I'll just paint, and I actually forget that I'm on live.
You just So that's what I'm saying is that with the Airbnb experience, everybody who would be in your class, they would have to pay to be there. So one thing is you would be getting paid per person. So say you charge $10, $15 per person or $30 a person, whatever you decide. That's how much you would get paid per person. It's something you can do from anywhere. So you can be in China filming an Airbnb experience, on Zoom, and people will sign up, and it's like Airbnb automatically drives traffic to their site. So on there already selling experiences. So if you find an experience that's specific to you, and you get those good reviews, you're going to get that consistently, and you can do it from anywhere in the world. So that's something I encourage you. Yeah, Airbnb experiences. Anybody listening, that's just one of the tips that's in my e-course, y'all. So just check it out. But yeah, I'm just saying that definitely find ways to get your skill out to more people, impact more people, and you will continue to grow your influence and you will continue to grow your wealth, because the more people who rock with you, the more people who want to support you. And you already know this. You already know this.
Yeah, it's been, this year's been very eye-opening. But, oh, I just remembered your question before. What did I do outside of school stuff, right? What did I do?
You wrote those things down, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good. That's good.
So when I went to school, I actually ran track for a while, like the first year. And then I did intramural sports, like basketball. We did football stuff. I took up a dance. I went to do like dance classes for a little bit.
What kind of dance?
Like contemporary jazz stuff.
Okay.
It was contemporary. It was like contemporary modern, and I was like, I don't, because you see, like I've seen like Dallas Black Dance Theater and stuff down here, and like Alvin Ailey and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, like I never understood the movements of why certain movements were chosen and why certain movements represent certain styles of dance. So that was cool to see that and get a better, like an intro into, essentially. I wasn't any good, but
it was still probably a fun experience, Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Something different.
It was cool. Yeah, definitely. And then I used to be a really big gamer for a long time, but then that kind of changed. That changed probably in the past couple of years. Actually, like I was a gamer for a long time. I would stay. I'd be standing outside of GameStop at midnight.
Oh Lord!
Yeah,
was serious about it. You was not playing no games.
Exactly. Like I was always playing either in tournaments. I'd be with some of my friends who play tournaments. Try to win stuff like that.
Oh wow, that's cool though.
Yeah, like I still like, it's crazy because I still have like no school systems, but the only thing that really touches them is dust these days. They just be sitting there. It's like my free time, I'm like, I'd rather create something than play the game. And sometimes I go play a little bit. Like me and my friend would play, and my mom brother would play. I would do it a little bit, just like de-stress.
Yeah.
I'll catch you later.
I understand.
And get back to work.
Because it pulls you. The creating pulls you. That's where you like spending your time, and it's going to always pull you. So that's good. That's very good. I think I agree with the whole because for me, I kind of distance myself from watching TV so much. Or if I do watch TV, it's like watching specific types of shows, like stuff that like pulls me in. Like I love Game of Thrones. I love the visuals. I love like the sets. I love the graphics. I love Daenerys. Like I love her. Like I really love Daenerys. But I'm just saying that I love the whole show. I love the production aspect of it. So it pulls me in there. But I can't sit and watch just any old show anymore. I just can't do it.
No. Same. I think honestly, when I'm watching TV,
thank you, Lord. Everything
it's
is working
usually
out for me.
most of the time like 99% of the time it's like anime.
Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Other than that, I'm watching like This Is Us or some random thing that's on the top 10 for Netflix because like trending or whatever. But
it's not always the best though.
Yeah, it's not. Like you'll watch something and be like, okay, I don't understand why this is like that. But then other things you'll see that are just random. Because I'm a big movie person. I will put on movies all day long.
What's your favorite movie?
That's like asking me, do I want air to breathe? Like
top five. What's the first five that comes to your mind?
First five, Gladiators.
Okay.
And like historical stuff. Russell Crowe. Training Day.
With Denzel.
Of course. I mean, iconic movie.
Absolutely.
Definitely Titanic. I really love Titanic.
Aww. So you're romantic?
Yeah. Hopelessly.
It's okay.
So.
Hello? Hey. Sorry for taking so long. My bad. I was grabbing some water from the place, but you still good?
Yeah, I'm too.
Are you limited on time?
Actually, right now I'm just working on a digital design, so multitasking at the moment. So it's good.
Okay, cool. So, what was the last thing that we talked about? Last thing that we said. We were talking about Shrek. Oh yeah, we were talking about movies. Okay, so I want to switch to. Let's talk a little bit about your spiritual journey. So tell me a little bit more about that.
And I guess what aspect?
So I understand. I guess when did you start becoming more spiritual, and like what kind of messages have you been receiving from God?
I became more spiritual. I would say, well, I guess that transition started to happen when I was in grad school. I really was looking into, I started reading a lot about metaphysics and like stuff like that. I really thought that was interesting. And then,
what is metaphysics? What is metaphysics for anybody who doesn't know?
So basically, like the idea that you have like, how do I think a simple way to break this down? I guess to me, the way I interpreted it is that there's like, it's like the breakdown of like how we, like everything is encompassed within itself, right? Mm-hmm. So nature and the world, the rest of the world exists in space that correlates to us living and existing, so we kind of feed off of each other in my mind. Mm-hmm. You know, and that there's a distinct relationship between like consciousness and like how your mind works and how matter is made. So almost like the idea of like manifestation stuff. So like, you know, put your mind, like if you think that you're gonna have a bad day, you're gonna have a bad day because you're putting that energy out into that world, and the energy just like transfers into certain circumstances and events that then affect you.
Mm-hmm. It make your day bad.
Yeah, it can make your day bad, which, you know, it kind of goes back to like that idea that if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it. Mm-hmm. Because you're putting your energy into looking for that thing. And vice versa. You know, so it's a law of attraction kind of idea. And this is how I broke it down. And then like I kind of dove deeper into it with this idea of collective conscious, which is like you have, it's like this theory that essentially like time, I mean obviously time isn't made of conscious, like time is a thing. Mm-hmm. Because obviously we see the progression of time with the construct that we form time into like 24-hour days, 60 seconds a minute, you know, like all that stuff. Yeah. It's a man-made thing that, you know, technically does the rest of the world follow that same timeline? Or because you think of like dogs and stuff, right? Or like, you know, you think of like dog years. Mm-hmm. Technically, it's like, okay, well, their cells metabolize and have a shorter lifespan, and it's equivalent to our cells working 7 times faster than what they do. So then that's why we say, like, oh, you know, they have 7 every year for us is 7 years for them, but in reality, time is just shorter for them in a way. But so what if their time construct was, if they could, like, you know, verbalize stuff to us? What if their time construct was different, you know, pertaining to them? So it's kind of like that idea, like you have a thing where if our consciousness is like awakened at certain points in this like collective conscious, right? So no one really technically quote unquote dies in that theory. And it's like, okay, well that's why it explains things like kids that know about things that happened in like the 1900s or something, that they literally have no way to know this. Like certain details have been documented throughout time, or even, and they also can explain why you have inventors and like quote unquote prodigies that like how do you know how to make the internet the internet? Like there's no basis for this.
Yeah. Where did this come from? Thoughts.
Where did this come from? Right, and that could be a thing that they theorize that, okay, well this is like a transfer of consciousness and certain parts remain, so that's why you innately knew how to do X, Y, and Z. And then, of course, the spiritual side of it, people can be like, well, that was divine intervention, or like, God was speaking to you and letting you know these things. So there's quote unquote rationale for everything. But I would say that it got stronger once I really took some time to really just kind of reassess and quiet my mind after I got out of school, and that some things were up to me. Where it's like you can pray about stuff and you can ask God for help and guidance, and I become more intentional with how I pray. My mom was always like, "You be specific," because I noticed when I would ask for things in a general sense or whatever, then it's something like I was like, "Oh, this happened, but I should have been more specific,"
Yeah.
So I've learned to try to fine tune that, and that has helped me. Like even with this journey now, like I prayed a lot about it because I know before I actually made that final decision to quit, I had been asking God. I was like, can you show me a sign that lets me know like this is time? And of course, God works in a way that He's not going to be like, this is your moment, do it right now. Like it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
But He'll present an opportunity or a situation to where you can choose to either walk through the door or not. And I had that walk through the door moment, and it was then at that time that I had to make up my mind: am I going to take this leap, or continue to be like, oh, I don't know if this is a sign or not. It's like you feel it. Like I feel like we all have a feeling, when something is being told to us in a way that isn't just us. It's a more spiritual sense. And, we can make that decision whether or not to listen to that voice or ignore it,
Yeah. So what was the situation or the opportunity that presented you to decide to quit your job? And what were you doing at the time?
So at the time, this was actually, I guess it started back in 2019, and that feeling of restlessness and not being satisfied with teaching. Like I would be stressed out, and I could physically tell the stress was getting to me. Like I was like biting my cheek and stuff more. Like I was like, my hair started to like get thinner and stuff too. And like I just wasn't taking care of myself as much because I was so stressed out with work stuff and busy, right? And like art wise, it was like I was doing stuff and trying to do more shows, be more active. And at the time, I had become more purposeful with what I was creating. So then the pandemic hit, and when I tell you, it felt like so much of like a breath of fresh air. Like every part of my being needed that because I had gotten to like it was almost like at a breaking point, and it was like I had asked God, like, I need a moment. I'm looking forward to spring break. I need a moment to just have some time to get together. And He's like, oh, I'll give you more than a moment. And, do with it what you will. And over time, things started happening. Social media started to grow and everything like that. And when I came back to school for the 2020 school year, it was like all of a sudden, all these things started to happen. Because I had done a lot of stuff in the summer, and I could start to see, like, oh, okay, people are liking my work and what I'm doing, and the message, like, the community was starting to get built, and people were starting to see my work and support what I'm doing, and so that was exciting. And then, I got on the news for some stuff, and so when I got back to school, teachers were like, oh my God, we saw you on the news, and this is so awesome, like, you're one of our teachers, and they were really, really hyped, right? They were, oh yeah, one of our teachers.
Yeah, like one of our teachers. Yeah, I got you.
And they were excited, right? But then that came at a cost. I felt like, because then it was almost like now there's like a target on me, so now there's more eyes on you, and so then all these issues started to happen during the school year. With I had made like a couple of TikTok videos with some of my kids. Like one of them was like one of my kids because since I had a lot of kids from biology, they were like they were older. They were taking science, like physics and chemistry, and I would still help them with some of their homework and lessons, just because I still knew it, even though I wasn't teaching it, because I was teaching art. So I would have kids that I had taught previously, and they would come in just say, "Hey, what's up?" And we would talk about work and anything they needed help with, and because they were like, "Well, we trust you more. We know you understand how to teach us, so like, can you help me with this?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I would have little study sessions during lunch and things like that after school.
But they had an issue with that.
Yeah, they did. And one of the videos I had made, one of the kids, and he was a kid that he wasn't good at like biology, and science wasn't his thing, but we made it work. But then like last year with physics, he was super excited about physics, and they were learning about like force and motion. And I remember we made a video. He's like, if we put it on your TikTok, because he showed us how to break an apple with your finger, like a whole apple. And I was like, how the heck did you do that? Because he literally just like hit it and split it in half. I was like, you cut it while you're lying. Like, ain't no way. And he's like, no, for real. Like, and he was talking about the pressure points and all that. And he learned. And he showed us like, yo, you gotta. He's like, can you make a video and then put it on your page? And he was tagging me. I was like, sure, why not? Like, if I can use my platform to help you get recognition for doing something you love to do, like the fact that you're teaching people stuff. Like if he literally was talking about, so you put this amount of force and pressure here because of this, and this, and he was giving a science lesson in something that was really cool. And I was like, this is a kid that last year would never have done that.
So you were trying to encourage him.
Right, exactly. I was trying to encourage him, hype him up about it, because that's exciting to see. And I remember like that happened, and another kid did a spoken word piece, really shy kid, never wanted to talk in class. Now he's doing spoken word pieces and entering poetry stuff, because we would go over his poetry and his spoken word stuff and getting his thoughts out on paper when I had him in my class the year before. So then I put that on my social media. So like 2 instances like that, and then HR came in talking about you have consent for them to be on your page. And we suggest that you remove your page and have it go private. Blah blah blah.
What?
Yeah. So that was like one of the beginning things. Then I don't know if you heard about this recently. One of like the kid that he had went to a party, not party, he went to a friend's house, and they forced him to drink urine from a cup. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I have not.
So that was one. So the kid in question was one of my students. It was her little brother, and she was telling me about how he was in middle school at the time, and he went to guys he was friends with, went to their house. They woke him up and recorded him, and they forced him to drink urine from it and sent the video to everybody at the school.
Wow.
And he tried to commit suicide.
Oh my
So
goodness.
it was like, he had issues with his being at school and being bullied really bad by not only the students but teachers. It was like a whole thing. It was like all over stuff and stuff. But we were talking about that. I made a video on my TikTok, just a PSA, like, hey, this is a situation that's happening. I didn't really drop any names like that. I showed the clip. And I just made a public service announcement. I literally even said, just like, hey, bullying is a really big problem, whether that's in person or virtually, and you need to check on your kids, especially younger kids, because a lot of times they won't speak up and say something if something's wrong. Like, they'll just kind of go about their day. And I've had friends that have lost, cousins and brothers and sisters due to, bullying, where they took their own life. They went to the grocery store, came back, their kids hanging from the banister.
Wow.
Stuff like that. So I'm like, that's a big deal, because you don't want to wait till it's too late. You don't.
Yeah.
You're not here anymore.
You had good intention with it. It wasn't malicious intent or anything like that.
Exactly. No malicious intent, nothing crazy. One of the parents of one of the boys that was involved in the incident, I had her son in my class, and I didn't even know this at the time. She filed. So basically, they recorded the video, and then I had to go to HR and deal with all this HR stuff about the video, how she felt like it was inappropriate, that I was taking sides, and I was, she questioned my ability as a teacher and my judgment, and she feared for her son's safety in class,
lies.
All this stuff. Yeah. And I'm just like, I didn't even know your son was even involved, that it was your family, until you said this. No one would have known if you didn't say anything. And my video had nothing to do. I wasn't bashing anybody. I was just bringing awareness. That's what you're supposed to do. And that was another issue. So then from then on, the rest of the school year, I would have walkthroughs coming through every week.
People coming through and checking on you, seeing what you were doing, watching you. Okay, so it's a hostile work environment.
Right, exactly. And it's little microaggressive things of we had STAR testing one week, so our state testing. And, it was the last day of the week. The kids were working on the big project. Because, in art class, you don't necessarily have an assignment every single day. You have a project that you work on over time. So, a lot of times I tell the kids, hey, you listen to music, if you're done with this part of the section of the project, work on something for another class. You need to catch up on stuff, catch up on another classwork.
Hold on 1 second.
Hey,
I have one question. Are you teaching? So you were teaching art in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were teaching
Yeah, the
art
last year.
in your last year, but before then you were
Right.
teaching biology.
Biology. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so how did you make that? Okay, well we'll come back to that. Keep going with your story. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
The change. I remember how to make that change. So then principals came in and made a whole public email about because one of my kids was working on another subject in class, one was listening to music, like watching a show,
It's
but
your
still working.
class, bruh.
And that's the thing, they're still being productive. I'm like, you're not. Honestly, I can't even sit there and be mad and be like, you can't watch because I will literally turn on a show, like we'll turn on like a show or something, or put on music and create. I don't sit here and create in silence.
Yeah.
Like that's weird.
That is
So
weird.
that was like the whole thing. And then the final straw was very last day. So very, very last day. Like I packing stuff up for the summer. At this time I was still like on the fence if I thought I was coming back. But like I was still leaning more towards it. Like give myself another year because that should give me more time to get things set up. Have more money set aside just in case. And I get a call from like this one of the district numbers at like 8:50 something in the morning. Our day starts at 9. Which is really weird. I'm thinking it's like, the traditional end of the year call. Make sure your room is locked up. Put your stuff away for the summer, blah, 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 blah. Normal teacher stuff. I answer the call and it's like, hey, this is so-and-so from the head of the HR department district. We had a report of somebody filed a complaint against you. And this is the third time that we've gotten a complaint about you and da-da-da-da. Basically, it was about they questioned me using my social media as leverage in my role as a teacher to help me make sales during contract hours.
Bruh.
And that was a violation of my contract and in the best interest of the students in the district. And, they were under review for stuff. So I spent like the whole day, that Friday, and then most of the weekend dealing with HR stuff. And when I got off of that call, when he called me, like the middle of him talking, a voice lady came out and he's like, "You're done. This is it. This is what I've been asking for."
Yeah, this is the last straw.
Mm-hmm. That was literally it. There was so many things, and they're like someone in the district filed a complaint and all this other stuff. And, they were just going through my social media, asking me about all this other stuff, and I'm just like, their main complaint obviously was like, "Oh, you're making money during contract hours." Like, yeah, I do stuff during my lunch break, which is my time, and then I do stuff after school, which is not during contract hours. There's just so many days I stay after school, whether that was for basketball practice, clubs that I ran, kids that just didn't have anywhere to go because their parents were late. I would stay after school and would be there. Like, y'all can chill in my room instead of being outside in the cold or, just like sitting out here. You can sit here, and then when your parents come, just have them call you or text you, and then you can go do whatever.
Yeah.
So if I'm there till 6-7 o'clock, that's on me. Like school ends at 4.
That's
like
your
4:15.
choice. It's your choice.
That's my choice.
It's your time, bruh.
Exactly. And that was like that. So after that, I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm done. And
I understand.
that was like the big thing. But I think the question you're gonna ask, like, how did I make that transition from biology to art? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have some other follow-up questions after that too.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So if anyone doesn't know, for teaching, at least in Texas, you can. Once you basically get your teacher certification, you can take the test to take any other subject without really having any background knowledge about it. Like if I wanted to be a history teacher, I could take the history test and to go teach the class. So there's a thing, if you're a teacher, you want to switch to another course, another subject. Teachers do it all the time. Ideally they do want you to have some background. It really depends on the district and your principal, because it's your principal's decision, but the guy that was the art teacher previously, he actually was joining the military, and me and him were really cool. And he was talking about leaving. I was like, oh, this is my opportunity to switch to art because, I had taught biology for a while, and I knew that it was my time in the science department was done because my patience and stuff just wasn't at the same level. And it was like 2 really challenging years back to back. And I was just like, I learned a lot about how to teach and how to teach in a more simplistic form, which I feel like now I look back that I needed that in order to like be able to really effectively communicate material to different age groups of people, so definitely beneficial. But it wasn't as hard as, it wasn't like a big a big deal. It was more so just part of it was politics and players just going to go take the test. Nothing really crazy.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's very cool that you were able to make that switch because that was something that you were probably more like inclined to do, like not as tedious and as it's the same all the time, you know?
Right, exactly.
But so I want to talk a little bit about, you had mentioned like how, you know, everybody was kind of coming after you at that place. They were all like, it's clear there was a lot of judgmentalness, closed-mindedness, and I guess for me, I want to know more about like how did you deal with that emotionally? You know, having that stress of like everybody's out to get you, and like how am I going to keep doing this? Like how did you handle that?
Honestly, it really fueled my fire to put into my craft even more. You know,